What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Flames back at it again with another Bible reading video. And today, man, we're about to be reading out of 1 Samuel chapter 23. Without further ado, man, let's get right to it. Chapter 23 David saves the city of Keilah. Now they told David, "Behold, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah, and they are robbing the threshing floors." Okay, sorry. In the last couple of chapters, it's just basically it's been persistently David running for his life, Saul mad for no reason because he's prideful and arrogant, trying to kill David because he's jealous of him, and David really hasn't done anything wrong. A bunch of the priests got killed because of David, um, just for them giving him advice. Like, it's getting really, really bad, and this is the reason that the Lord didn't want to give them a king, and they should have just trusted in him. Um, but this is what they get, I guess. Um, and poor David, hasn't really done anything wrong. But yeah, chapter 23. Now they told David, "Behold, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah and are robbing the threshing floors." Therefore David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack these Philistines?" Now this is as David's life is in danger, okay? And he already took down Goliath. And the Lord said to David, "Go and attack the Philistines and save Keilah." But David's men said to him, "Behold, we are afraid here in Judah. How much more then if we go to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines?" Then David inquired of the Lord again, and the Lord answered him, "Arise, go down to Keilah, for I will give the Philistines into your hand." And David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines and brought away their livestock and struck them with a great blow. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. When Abiathar the son of Ahimelech had fled to David to Keilah, he had come down with the ephod in his hand. Now it was told Saul that David had come to Keilah, and Saul said, "God has given him into my hand, for he has shut himself in by entering a town that has gates and bars." Crazy, bro. Like, how egotistical is that thinking? Um, Saul summoned all the people to war to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. David knew that Saul was plotting harm against him, and he said to Abiathar the priest, "Bring ephod here." Then David said, "O Lord, the God of Israel, your servant has surely heard that Saul seeks to come to Keilah to destroy the city on my account. Will the men of Keilah surrender me into his hand? Will Saul come down as your servant has heard? O Lord, the God of Israel, please tell your servant." And the Lord said, "He will come down." Then David said, "Will the men of Keilah surrender me and my men into the hand of Saul?" And the Lord said, "They will surrender you." Then David and his men, who were about 600, arose and departed from Keilah. They went wherever they could go. When Saul was told that David had escaped from Keilah, he gave up the expedition, and David remained in the strongholds in the wilderness, in the hill country of the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but God did not give him into his hand. Saul pursues David. What's new? David saw that Saul had come out to seek his life. David was in the wilderness of Ziph at Horesh, and Jonathan, Saul's son, rose and went to David at Horesh, um, and strengthened his hand in God. And he said to him, "Do not fear, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find you. You shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next to you. Saul my father also knows this." And the two of them made a covenant before the Lord. David remained at Horesh, and Jonathan went home. So it was said that Jonathan and David were so close that their souls were like tied together. Like, they were really locked in, best friends. But Jonathan's dad wanted to kill David because the people were singing a song about David taking out 10,000s and Saul only taking out thousands, and he was so egotistical that it made him that angry. And the two of them made a covenant before the Lord. David remained at Horesh, Jonathan went home. Then the Ziphites went up to Saul at Gibeah, saying, "Is it not David hiding among us in the strongholds at Horesh on the hill of Hachilah, which is south of Jeshimon? Now come down, O king, according to all your heart's desire to come down, and our part shall be to surrender him to the king's hand." And Saul said, "May you be blessed by the Lord, for you have compassion on me. Go, make yet more sure Know and see the place where his foot is, and who has sent him there. For it has told me that he is very cunning. See therefore and take note of all the working places where he hides, and come back to me with sure information. Then I will go with you, and if he is in the land, I will search him out among the thousands of Judah. And they arose and went to Ziph ahead of Saul. Now David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, and the Abra of the south of Jeshimon. And Saul and his men went to seek him. And David was told, so he went down to the rock and lived in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard that, he pursued after David in the wilderness of Maon. Saul went on one side of the mountain, and David and his men on the other side of the mountain. And David was hurrying to get away from Saul. As Saul and his men were closing in on David and his men to capture them, a messenger came to Saul saying, Hurry and come, for the Philistines have made a raid against the land. So basically, Saul is so worried about killing David, who has committed no crime, has done nothing inherently wrong. Like, I believe he did, the only thing that he did, like, to Saul, he didn't do anything wrong. Besides, like, it just all, like, and even if he did, it's just rooted in this pridefulness, right? And we go and read this and we're just like, man, how like, you know, like arrogant is that? But a lot of us, including myself sometimes, act like that every single day, where we talk about ourselves in like this high manner when we're really not ish at all, right? Or just like you gotta realize like a lot of this book, it's obviously preaching the gospel, but It's it's part of that. It preaches humility, and pride is the root of all evil. If you think of like a negative quality about somebody, it could be rooted more likely than not rooted within pride. And it also the Bible tells us to be Christ-like. And was Jesus egotistical? No, he was humble, right? He said who he was. To people who didn't believe in who he was, he probably seemed very arrogant, but if anything, him being who he was and having the power that he did was pretty humble. When we eventually read the book of Proverbs, the whole book of Proverbs is telling you to shut up and to be humble. So we just see examples of this, and Saul probably thought he was doing the right thing the whole time in his perspective, right? But a lot of these people, including me sometimes, right? I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We are just get caught up in our own pride, and a lot of times without realizing it. And Saul probably didn't even realize what he was doing. He was just so mad and angry. He probably didn't even know why. So we just got to be, as Christ followers, we just got to be very careful. We got to be very careful with stuff like that. Okay. Therefore, okay. Hurry and come, the Philistines have made a raid against the land. So Saul returned from pursuing after David and went to the Philistines. Therefore, that place was called the Rock of Escape. And David went up from there and lived in the strongholds of NGD. Okay, that is it for this chapter. About to go throw some food in the air fryer and make this next chapter, so it should be out in like 20 minutes. I appreciate y'all for watching. And I'm gonna catch y'all here in a couple minutes. Peace.